Hey everybody, Questwise here, and over the past week or so I've been teasing an upcoming Kickstarter for a game that I'm very interested in. This is a game that has been out before, but I was completely really unaware of its previous existence or having any sort of experience with the previous edition. This game is the Epic of Dreams, the upcoming Kickstarter. On May 26th, it begins is the Basilisk edition, and you may have seen some of the little teasers I've been putting out about that. And last week I did a video on kind of my initial impressions of the game, as well as I gave you some links to the playtest copies in the descriptions. And if you haven't had a chance to check those out, I'd love to hear what you think. Now, they are very sort of playtest documents, so there's a lot of stuff that will be changed, a lot of stuff that will be added, and a lot more sort of formatting to be done. But I was honored enough a few days ago to be invited by one of the designers, Drew Cochran, to partake in a game of Epic of Dreams, to just see exactly how the game sort of played out. And I have to say, I had a blast. This game, I mentioned this last week, but this game is very epic. There's really no better word to choose than epic for this game. It's very much based in mythology and the storytelling idea that's been passed on from generation to generation over millions of years. And that's exactly how the game sort of plays. The characters that we played were all pre-generated characters, but I have a feeling that, like, that's the sort of scale of the game. That there's this sort of epic feel. Your characters all have these very invested interests in the world, and they all are pretty well known in the world. Or if we're not well known, they have a lot of influence over the world and such as well too. This was just an amazing game to play. What I've come here today to do for you, all of the viewers of the Questwise channel, is to give you a link in the description below, not only to the playtest copies, again, if you haven't seen or gotten those already, but also to the Kickstarter page that you can follow along, sort of the prequel of the Kickstarter when it launches on May 26th. I think this is something you're going to really want to check out. If you're a role-playing fan, if you're a storytelling fan, if you're a fan of epic mythology and folklore, this game is on some fronts very familiar. If you're a veteran role player, but there's so many things that are just really unique and very different. And Drew has taken a lot of things and brought them together. Some of his favorite things and ideas and stuff. I feel some influences from Burning Wheel in here. I feel some influences from, like, Fate in here. I feel some influences from things like Dungeons and Dragons, but more of the deities and demigods portion of D&D. Or if classic D&D is more your thing, something like the Immortal set for BX. That kind of epic storytelling, that sort of gathering of voices around a fire and retelling these epic deeds. And there are ways in which the game very much sort of exemplified those ideas as well too. One of the things that we got to do during the game, in the game, is called a soliloquy. And that is that we have a certain moment in the game, everything just stops. And the person running the game will actually focus in on each character, and you have to give some kind of a soliloquy as to your intimate details, your intimate thoughts of the situation and how things happen. It kind of puts the ball in the player's court a little bit, as it were, in order to give the sort of like the inner voice of your character and what they're feeling. And that's something really unique, and I found that really interesting. It's sort of like in reading a tale or a story, novel type thing. The thing I kept getting drawn back to was the Iliad, right? There are times when there's this action going on, and then you're kind of drawn into a character's own thoughts and their personal feelings, and those are sort of expounded upon before the action kicks back in and takes over again. It's that sort of, Drew's done a really great job with sort of capturing those ideas and taking those very important things from different things like the Iliad and Beowulf. And then in the game, from what I've been told, will be sort of system agnostic. They're world agnostic. You can create your own worlds. There's sort of a default one that it goes to, and I believe that's the one that we played in. It was just an amalgamation of a lot of different historical and mythological cultures, and it was really fun to play because it felt like everything melded very, very well. The game it lends itself a lot to storytelling, and it lends itself a lot to things like expounding upon details and that sort of epic storytelling, epic poetry vibe of things that you can sort of incorporate into your game. I keep referring back to the Iliad, but I think that that's a perfect example of what's sort of going on here. This idea that you have these people that are caught up in this grand scheme, this grand sort of story that's being told, but they each have their own sort of like moment in the sun in this game, or in the stories, and it fits very well into this game and makes some really, really great time in role playing. I had a blast, and I'm hoping I get to do it again. I hope that you'll check out the playtest copies that I'm going to put down below again. Now, when you read into the playtest stuff, I had a lot of questions at first. I knew that there was something very unique about the game. There's something very special about the game. But I had a lot of questions on how things worked. And after having had a chance to play it and sit down and kind of work my way through it as we were playing, it makes a lot of sense. And it's very beautifully wrought. The whole thing is very well done. I'm also going to put a link to that Kickstarter page so that you can follow along the sort of prequel to the Kickstarter. And then hopefully when it launches on May 26th, you will all jump on the bandwagon and get yourself a copy of this game, because I think when it's all put together, this game's going to really, really shine. And I can't wait to get a copy, and I can't wait to start building my own worlds and telling my own stories. It's a very different type of role-playing game. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are familiar if you've played role-playing games before, but there's a lot of stuff that's very unique to this game. So I hope you're going to check it out. I hope you are enjoying this video. If you have any questions or thoughts or anything, post them down below, and I will try to answer them best as I can. And if I cannot answer it, I'll reach out to the designers and see what they have to say on those certain things as well too. So Epic of Dreams, the prequel to the Kickstarter, coming May 26th, I believe. I hope I'm saying that right. May 26th. If I'm wrong, I will put a disclaimer down below. But until next time, I'm Questwise, and I am out.